morning. My name is William Michael Forbes. I'm a spiritual medium, a channel, and an intuitive life coach, and I want to welcome you to a morning message today. And I'm really excited because this is the first time that I've had two different beings come to me at the same time around two subjects that are very closely related. Master St Germain is one of the beings I have with me today, and Dr. Carl Jung is the other being I have with me today. And the discussion is on understanding the relationship between addictions and the disowned soul. It's interesting because Carl Jung said what happens with addiction is people are aspiring to get connected to a feeling that they do not believe that they are capable of creating for themselves or even know how to create in the first place. So they seek the feeling outside of themselves. And he says that's what people do with addictions. They're seeking a feeling that they do not realize that they can actually create on the inside of themselves. He says often people are raised in environments where certain emotional elements are not nourished and cultivated and therefore developed. The individual has nothing to be aware of that feeling. They know they need that feeling. They know they need that quality of emotion, but they have not been given that by their environment. So the tendency is to try and find it in something else, a person, a drug, sex, food. There's many different places that he says people try to find the feeling, but they'll ultimately fail in their efforts to find the feeling outside themselves. He says if you really, really want to find the feeling that you are seeking, you must learn to cultivate it inside yourself. And there are many ways in which you can learn to do that. You may use the sensation that you acquire from that substance that you're using to get that feeling that you're seeking. You can use the feeling energy from that sensation to cultivate that feeling state inside yourself without using the externalized mechanism for acquiring that feeling. Now, Master St Germain, on the other hand, he says that it's important you understand that in the pursuit of expanding your consciousness by acquiring something that which is outside of yourself, you do in fact disown your awareness as spiritual beingness, as consciousness, as soul, as the non-physical entity that inhabits the form. When you become too attached to matter as the means for objectifying your own identity, then you lose the awareness of your infinite potential, your relationship to all things that would give you nothing but joy if you understood this, that you are fully and completely in union and in harmony with all life as it is. If you do this, you'd experience nothing but joy, and you would give nothing but joy. But in order to get that, you must understand that you are the limitless creator of your experience, not ensconced in the limitations of that physical body or those acquired ideas or beliefs that you have about who you think you are. If you understand this clearly, and if you understand what the other has said, and by the other, I believe he's meaning Carl Jung. What he's saying, what the other said means that you must understand, you must learn to cultivate and develop your creative energy from within you to express into this world. You do not come to this world to be exclusively nurtured by it. That is something that you needed while you were in the smaller stages of a physical body. Master St. Germain is saying it's important if you understand the simplicity of this, and it is very simple, that you, if you understand, you can create any emotion or feeling you desire to experience from within yourself. Now I got Carl Jung coming and saying, you must understand your imagination. Your imagination is a very important faculty that you have that allows you to vividly create in your own mind those things that will stimulate the necessary feelings that you are thinking you are lacking in the case of addiction, where you are trying to get that feeling. If you're willing to use your imagination to stimulate those feelings, you will find the need for the substances will be eclipsed by your satisfaction of generating those feelings inside yourself through vivid imaginings. Like I said, this has been the first time I've ever had two beings working through me like this, so it's a very, very different process. I'm aware of the different energies, but I'm also aware of my own awareness, which is really fascinating. As you begin to open up to these non-physical, multidimensional beings that are available to all of us, if we learn to open our minds beyond the confines of our personality. And then I want to address that personally for a moment. The confines of my personality as William, the person William, was a construct of my environment. You know, you've seen examples of that in shows like The Matrix, where they talk about the construct. Well, who you think you are is a construct of your environment. And when you begin to step outside of that, Carl Jung saying, yes, what I'm saying about the construct is that that's the ego, and that your identification beyond the construct, the identification of yourself beyond the construct is your higher self, or your soul, as some people like to call it. Now, Master St Germain is saying that is the part of yourself that you disown when you get lost in what this one is saying is the construct. Right? So for me, going through a process of learning that William is just the name given the container, and literally realizing that my thoughts are not who I am. My emotions are something I create or can create, but that most of what we've been created to think we're supposed to be is not who we are. So for me, it took a number of years. It took about 20 years for me to really break down that whole construct and come to the understanding that my body and my mind are mechanisms that I use to create and express my experiences here. When you begin to, St. Germain is saying, when you begin to make the transition from the construct of who you think you are into the soul awareness that is truly who you are, then the process of creating the expressions of your life that will ennoble who you are become available to you through your own creative potential and power, and not dependent upon your environmental conditions. And I'm getting a complete agreement from Dr. Jung here that he's saying all things are conscious, all things are aware, all things are being. It is only in the realm of the being of humans where you can separate yourself from what you are being and be lost in what you would call suffering, which is the disconnection between who you are and who you think yourself to be and who you think you're supposed to be. There are three different facets of your consciousness that you must resolve, as recognizing that one is subjective to the other. Your body is subjective to you, your mind is subjective to you, your emotional energy is subjective to you, but you must acquire the positioning in awareness that will allow you to begin to function as the director of your conditions in this physical world. And he's meaning through the mind and through the body, that you are the director of that. Master St. Germain is saying, I agree on this, and it is also important that you understand your creative potential is not limited to this physical world. For when you begin to step outside of the confinements of your conditions that you've been taught to think are more real than who you are real as yourself, from that perspective, you then begin to move in your creative potential beyond this physical dimension. Your ideas and thoughts and emotions begin to have an impact on the greater realm or expanse of consciousness. It is what you would call on this dimension a state of mastery, where you know that you can think and feel and believe certain things, and those things will come to pass. But most of you are not conscious of this ability that you have to know that what you think and what you feel is causing the conditions of your life. These things on which we speak today, this thing called the disowning of your soul, you can never really disown your soul, but you become unconscious that you are that when you become aligned too deeply ingrained and too deeply ingrained in the personality, the structure of the body and mind as it was constructed. You constructed them to rise above them, not to be subjective to them. When you put your consciousness in the position where those things outside of your body in the form of substances, of the form of matter, where your sense of identity and well-being is dependent upon matter exclusively, and I stress exclusively because the body in and of itself requires matter in order for it to exist. The mind requires thought in order for it to exist. But the quality of thought and the quality of matter that is required for the body and mind is significantly different than what most of you know. Most of you are entrapped in substances as being the defining point of your consciousness. The place where you think you get your meaning from is not in the things of this world. It is not in the sensations you get from the things of this world through your body. Where you will gain true meaning for your life is in your own creative capacity to generate the he's saying frequencies and proper evaluations of your awareness beyond the confines of what you think you are. And Carl Jung is saying in what we spoke of, the personality as being something that is physical and something that is mental and something that is emotional. And there is this other aspect that we have addressed before called the soul, or the awareness, or the higher self. There are many terms that have been given for it, but it's only at that point when you step beyond the confines of the other aspects of self that you grew through that you can begin to actually generate and create experiences that will sustain you. Addiction, being connected to substances as a means for acquiring a sensation that you think you do not possess, negates fully and completely your own creative power to generate the very conditions that you seek to be fulfilled by the addictive substances that you utilize. So please understand that when you release your attachment to the substance as the source for your feelings and begin to remember that the source of your feelings is something that you are, that you can generate, that you can create through the use of your creative imagination, you can generate new emotions, you can generate new ideas. You cannot generate anything new from the substances, the sensations of substances alone. There are some substances that may be used to alter your perception of what you call yourself, your personality, and the alteration of that personality and your perception of that alteration can give you the illusion that this substance can somehow improve your awareness of yourself beyond the physical construct. Is there another way we could put that? Because it sounds pretty complex to me. Okay, so he's saying simply that when you are able to step out of the substance as being the source of your feelings. So I drink a bottle of alcohol, I get a certain sensation, makes me smile, makes me laugh in some cases. But we try to get because I've been through alcoholism, I've been through drug addiction, so I understand what they're saying very clearly and how it applies. So in my words, I used to drink when I used to do drugs. The things that I was trying to get was a sensation. And it was a sensation that I was not, that made me feel better than what I was experiencing myself as being. And so we try to get these substances, these things out there, food, alcohol, drugs, sex, to try and establish a better feeling about ourselves. Yeah. Master St Germain says you cannot establish a better feeling for yourself from these things of this world. For you are a divine light that when you understand you are aligned to that divine light, you are not restricted. You are limitless in your capacity to feel what you call goodness or love or joy or bliss. There is no ceiling on the experience of that for you. There are simple ways that you can begin to utilize your addiction to break yourself free of the addiction itself. You can actually utilize the addiction to break yourself free of the addiction. They're both chiming in on this at the same time, and they're in agreement on this. They're saying what you can do when you find yourself going towards the substance or the mechanism of your addiction. They're saying identify what feeling are you seeking, what emotion are you seeking. And they're saying what you want to do is you want to sit down, become quiet, and take your attention off what it is you're seeking out there, trying to get the feeling from there. They're saying go inside and bring the feeling up inside yourself. Recall the sensation. You are a creator. The minute you decide to recall a sensation, your biology must respond to you. Your mind must respond to you. Recall the sensation that you are seeking, but seek it inside yourself. Feel the feeling that you would feel if you were to engage in the addiction process, the substance. What feeling would you be feeling in that substance? And they're saying, sit with that feeling inside yourself. Remember the feeling and feel it inside yourself. And do this repeatedly, for what will begin to happen is you begin to realize the feeling is inside you. It is not from the substance at all. That's cool. I've never had them speak at the same time like that before. So understanding that the feeling that you're seeking isn't from the substance itself. It's actually a feeling you're wanting to have within you. And we have this illusion, I know I certainly did for years, that when the body feels a certain way, I thought I was feeling a certain way. But when you get to the place that sensation is really about an emotion that I wanted to feel. And that's really what addiction is all about. It's about wanting to connect to an emotion that you don't believe you currently possess. Master St Germain, you always have all potentials within you. And you can create anything that you want to experience in this world. And he's referring to your physical body and your mind. You can generate any feeling into the body that you so choose. It's just that many of you have been taught to believe that you must acquire something outside of you to get that sensation in your body. And this is clearly not true. And the only way you can know that these words that you hear are true is through the practicing of what we will suggest. To sit, instead of going to the substance and connecting to the feeling, the desired feeling that you wish to have from the substance, and call that feeling up within you. You can do this. You are a creator. You are a sentient soul. You are a non-physical consciousness manifesting this condition called life through this form. The disowning of that position in your consciousness is what causes all of your suffering. To believe that you cannot create conditions other than the ones you exist in are what disown you from experiencing that which you truly are. As well, it's important to realize you do need this form to express in this physical dimension, but that this form is not the source of your life. It is a mechanism through which you express the life of your own being through. Nor do you get life from the substances around you. Your body may get sustenance, but your life does not come from the things of this world. The sustenance of the body does. But the sustenance of your emotion, the joy, the bliss, the harmony, the peace that you are seeking is something that you must, by choice, choose to manifest and cultivate in your consciousness, and to bring that cultivation down into the expression of your being, your body. And I'm just getting an agreement on that from Carl Jung. He's saying basically, I agree with this, that when you understand that your awareness is not the body, that your body's existence is dependent upon the presence of your awareness. When you understand that, then whatever is within the body, you can put into it joy, you can put into it fear, you can put into it love. You have that the liberty to do that. But step back from those things that would compel you to try and acquire the sensations you seek outside of your own capability to do so. Follow these instructions and you will begin to realize that you are free. You will begin to reacquire the position of your soul, the spirit of your being, which is the life force that animates the body in which you find yourself, your super consciousness, if you like, your limitless being, your endless bliss, which is what you are. But to understand and know that you are, you must exercise your creative potential to experience the effect of your creating. You will not find liberation nor freedom from your addictions. You will only find greater imprisonment and suffering. in seeking to acquire the feelings that you are believing that you cannot experience, you stay trapped in the seeking of it. So be willing to go back into repose, to sit. Do not go to the substance. Sit quietly and ask yourself, what feeling am I seeking? And ultimately, we have found that the vast majority of you will ultimately say what we are seeking is joy, what we are seeking is happiness, what we are seeking is love. And then it becomes your responsibility to consider and create, how does love feel? And you have your closest approximation for many of you that are dealing with addictions is the very substance that you're addicted to, whether it be food or alcohol or drugs or sex, whatever the addiction may be. The addiction is where you've been seeking that emotion from. But the emotion exists within you. All you have to do is recall the experience of your addiction, and you'll remember the sensation in your consciousness. Once you remember the sensation in your consciousness, put all of your focus on it. Feel it, breathe it, expand that sensation in your body. Then you will be exercising your creative capabilities to change and alter the emotional frequencies within your body. And when you recognize and experience that frequency being cultivated and developed by you internally, you will have no need for the addictive substance in order to sustain the emotional state, for you will then know you are creating it. And this is what we came here to share with you today. And we hope you understand that your addictions are not an issue of something being wrong with you. Your addictions are a process by which you have trying to learn how to acquire the capability to generate certain emotional states that you were not trained or taught that you could do so. Usually in your childhood, you were not taught or shown what was love, what was joy, what was bliss, what is happiness, what is playfulness. And so you must learn to cultivate those energies within yourself, within your own being. Master St Germain saying to me too that if you so choose, you may call upon me, for I have an energy that many of you call this violet fire. It is merely a frequency of energy that transforms and changes electrical, emotional energy from one state to another. It will also affect matter, time and space very differently. But it is in each of you to generate the emotions within your own being to become that which you seek, to become the love, to become the joy, to become the bliss that you are seeking from these addictions. And in stepping back from the addictions and recognizing your own creative potential, you liberate your soul, you liberate your creativity, you liberate yourself to be free, to express yourself fully and completely as you are capable of doing at all times. It's just a matter now of becoming conscious of this truth. Okay, thank you. This has been a very exciting time for me today. There's so much happening on this planet today. We're interconnecting with these other multidimensional beings. There's massive change going on the planet today. The consciousness is shifting so rapidly, and you can call it whatever name you want, call it COVID-19. It's a change in collective consciousness. And there are millions of us right now working on this process to elevate collective unconsciousness to a state of love and grace, instead of the state of fear that it has been historically entrenched in. We see that outpictured as war, as famine, as control and power for millennium on this planet, and that we're now moving towards changing that collective unconscious fear to a state of collective unconscious love and joy and creativity, right? Creating from love is a lot different than creating from fear. And the argument's been used that, war, a lot of technological advances happen during war. No, the technological advances are happening because we're trying to solve a problem. We're trying to end war. It's not because of war that technology evolves. It's the desire to end war that technology evolves. And it will continue to evolve, and we're moving beyond the need for using mechanisms of suffering. We're moving beyond the need for mechanisms of suffering to be a process of creating change. because we can create change from our own consciousness, from a limitless perception of being. And that's what these masters and these teachers and mentors are coming to all of us. And they are. You've got guides and angels with you right now. And they're around you. And when you begin to raise your vibration, when you begin to alter your perceptual mechanism beyond just the 5 physical senses, and you begin to tap into different things. Just the same way as, X-rays and cosmic rays and gamma rays and radio waves are invisible to our 5 physical senses. Your consciousness is a mechanism that can tap into any of those frequencies. And again, that's something for another day. But I want to say thank you to everybody for showing up today. Also, please join me for Supernatural Saturday this week. We're going to be having Aphrodite, the goddess of love, and it's going to be a discussion on sexuality, which I'm really excited about because I've never had Aphrodite come to me. It just was a few days ago that she announced that she'd be doing this. Also, I want to invite you. We have our final spring course for a Mediumship 102 course beginning tomorrow, April the 4th at 10 a.m. You've got lots of time to register. We'll accept registrations right up until Sunday evening or even Monday evening, depending on who it is and how well you think you can fit into the program. And this is a course on mediumship where you can learn to tap into the guides and the angels that are around you. And not just guides, angels, but when a person close to you leaves the body, it doesn't mean they don't exist. The body isn't who you are. It's a mechanism that you use while you're here. It's a fascinating process. When you begin to understand that, well, then the process of creation and liberation and fun becomes really exciting. You actually start to be able to realize you're a creator being. You got this power going through your body, keeping your body alive. Over 3 billion processes going on in your body right now, and how many of you are aware of? And something inside of us is doing that for us, managing all of those processes. And when you start to tap into that energy, it liberates you. Anyway, we get into things like that with the Mediumship 102 Intermediate Course Program, and I hope we'll see you there. Also, if you want to support the work that we're doing right now, please go to in the description box under the video. You see the link to my Patreon account. Please support me on Patreon. Also, share and like this video. Get this information out. I mean, these beings are here to really work with us, and the game has been upped. As you can see on the planet, the pollution has dropped significantly in the last few weeks just from the changes in our activity. And yeah, there's adaptations, there's transformations. Huge transformation underway during this ascension process, and because it's all connected to that. And anyway, I invite you to join us each week, share these videos, share the information. And again, thank you for showing up to a morning message today. And I look forward to seeing you on Supernatural Saturday, where we do a Q&A as well, and or in the courses. And much love to all of you. And thank you, Master St Germain. Thank you, Dr. Carl Jung. I really appreciate your contributions. Much love. And much love to all of you. Bye for now.